at the peephole, fearing that any motion from my end would reveal I was home. I watched her face intently, trying to look anywhere but her eyes. To my relief, she turned around and walked off our porch. I kept watching until she walked out of the peephole's vision completely. I scrambled to the kitchen counter where my phone, keys, and wallet were. I shoved my things into my pockets along with my wife's phone. I wasn't waiting around for the girl to knock on my door again. I started a phone call to my parents. I hadn't asked them for anything since I moved out at 18. And to be honest, I don't think I'd talked to them since the day of my wedding. But desperate times, I would have them meet me at the gas station nearby, or even the park down the road. Hell, anywhere that had living, breathing people around. I put my phone to my ear, but heard no ring. After a few seconds, I realized my phone didn't have any service. I slammed my fist onto the counter, angry at the whole situation of my wife walking out without saying a word. The darkness rose outside my apartment. Fell because less light was shining through the cracks out of my window blinds. I approached my window and opened the blinds to see big puffs of white clouds blocking the sun. And in the shade created, I saw a little girl standing in the middle of my apartment complex parking lot, staring at me. Clouds became darker and darker, and the landscape outside quickly shifted from the cool light of a late afternoon to pitch black midnight with no moonlight shining through. I swung open my front door and took off running, but blackness overtook me. I lost sight of the parking lot, the apartment complex, and eventually all my surroundings. They all turned into a thick, dark fog that extended in all directions. I looked down and screamed as the floor turned to black nothingness. I thought I would fall, but my feet kept grounded. I closed my eyes and reopened them, only to realize I could see no difference in the level of darkness either way. I only knew my eyes were open from muscle memory, and the fact I could see my hands if I held them up to my face. I had to run at least 20 yards from my front door, so I was shocked when I turned and saw it right behind me. The tall white door floated there in the black void. I tried to open it, but it was locked. I shivered in this lonely and cold wasteland of emptiness. "Do you know where you are?" said a high-pitched voice of the little girl, which echoed through the black fog. She appeared behind me, so I backed into my apartment door out of fear. It felt hard to breathe in the thick mist of darkness, so I leaned more of my own weight against the door. I, I, I don't know," I said with a struggle. "You're in my eye." Her giggle bounced around the fog into my head, making it throb. You, you, you took my wife, didn't you?" "She's in my other eye." More giggles. "Good thing I have the two of you. One for each of you." I groaned aloud and turned and hit my forehead against the door. "Why can't you just leave us alone?" "I can't." She took on a serious tone. "I can't because, well, it's hard to explain. Let me show you." She disappeared for a moment, but the echo of her voice remained. My apartment's living room window popped into vision just next to my front door. Light emanated from it, making me cover my eyes until they could adjust to the brightness. I looked through the bright window and saw myself in the apartment. I was in a trance of rage, pacing around and destroying everything inside. I saw myself grab our TV and smash it into the ground. I ripped open our cupboards and flung every piece of kitchenware I could get my hands on into our apartment walls. I flipped over the couch and kicked over the garbage can while pulling my hair out and cursing my wife for leaving. "Do you know what that is?" she said. "It's me." "No, it's just an empty shell, just like your wife from yesterday." M- my, my wife. Please, let me see her one more time." Another window popped open as the stones throw for my front door. This time, it was the driver's side window of our car. Light shined from the interior of our old sedan, and I could see my wife sitting in the driver's seat. As I got closer, I saw her holding air as if it was a child. She wrapped it in her arms while rocking it lightly back and forth and snuggling her head into nothing. "That's me," the little girl said. "I'm sitting with her." I looked closer and saw the black-eyed girl appear in the arms of my wife. They were curled up together in silence. My wife's face was at peace. There were tears, but not of pain. "Do you get it now?" Yes, you are her. You're a part of her." There was silence in the void of blackness. The car window faded to black. So I walked back to our apartment door and a living room window, and the only things I could see in the expanse. I looked into the window again and saw my body lying on the living room floor, staring up at the ceiling and breathing heavily. The girl appeared next to me. "Let's make a deal," she said. "I'll send you back if you promise to open the door when we knock." "I don't have much of a choice, do I?" I sighed. "I guess I'm becoming a dad sooner than I thought." "I told you, we can't leave you alone, not until you've dealt with us." "How am I supposed to do that?" "I don't know. You're the adult, not me." "All right, it's a deal." "Good," she said. "Now just knock on the door." "What?" She motioned toward the outside of my apartment door. "Knock." I lifted my arm to the tall door in front of me, feeling weaker and smaller. I turned my head, and my wife grabbed my unoccupied hand as she latched her other hand with the girl. I managed 3 little knocks on the door. Tap, tap, tap. I came in my living room to the sound of 3 knocks. I was staring up at the ceiling, still feeling blood rushing from anger. I looked around and saw that I was lying in rubble. Crumbled drywall was spread across the carpet, which also was littered with glass. The worst headache of my life overwhelmed me, but I knew I needed to get to the door quickly. I got up and opened it to see the girl and my wife. Her eyes told me that she was sorry for leaving. Somehow, they also managed to forgive me for being an asshole at the same time. I curled my lips up in a slight smile, even stomaching a look at the girl in her black eyes for a few seconds, despite still feeling uneasy about it. But there was a third with them, a little boy with black eyes that pushed against the whites of his eyes. I recognized him instantly. He was the one that just knocked. He was me.